This week in Jamaica Now, Spain pain. There will be consequences after the defending champions crash out of the World Cup. Jamaicans weigh in.
I think it's bad to Spain drop out because I guess only for people who want to see competitive football, but we know we see some different side are coming and things, so that's so.
Youth Minister ponders legal options over controversial JFJ sex education program in 6 children's homes. One civil society group accuses the JFJ of pushing the gay agenda. The PNP wants greater scrutiny of these groups. And GSAT glory and disappointments too. The details of these and other stories coming up after the break.
Put your flags up in the sky. And wave side to side. Show the world where you're from. Show where you're from. Show the world we are one.
I'm Damian Mitchell, and this is Jamaica Now. Spain manager Vicente Del Bosque says there will be consequences after the defending champions' shock World Cup exit in Brazil. Del Bosque has also hinted that his 6-year reign as national boss may be coming to an end. He says whenever something negative happens in a World Cup or an important competition, it has consequences. Del Bosque was speaking with reporters after Spain lost 2-0 to Chile last week. It was Spain's second defeat in Group B, which left it unable to reach the knockout phase.
Yeah, man, it was a good thing for Spain to drop out because I was under pressure about Spain. And I told the people, as long as Barca fails, Spain will fail.
Spain was destined to have a little problem from the start of the World Cup, and they've proven to be reluctantly trying to make it even any chance for them to go through.
That's a good go home for we, because we just get rid of them, it make it easier for we, you know what I say? Brazil for the World Cup, you know, you don't know the things set already, you know.
The Youth Ministry is awaiting word whether the government can take legal action in relation to an unauthorized sex education program implemented by Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ, in 6 privately run children's homes. The Youth Minister, Lisa Hanna, has referred to the Children's Advocate and the Attorney General the manuals used by the group in its program. The JFJ has been criticized for implementing the program, which targeted approximately 120 children aged 12 to 17. The manual lists anal sex and oral sex as acceptable. The JFJ has since apologized for the inclusion of the material. And Dr. Caroline Gomes has resigned as a director of the JFJ board because of what she says are irreconcilable differences arising from its response to the issue. Meanwhile, the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society is calling for interest groups to be more transparent in pushing their agendas. The coalition says it is incensed but not surprised about the news of an unapproved sexual education course introduced in the 6 privately run children's homes by the JFJ.
I personally believe we should not have them. I think that this is a corruption of young children.
Yes.
But I'm saying that the way that a country should make the decision whether it wants these sort of things or not is that it should be informed that this is an organized agenda coming from the United Nations, or some elements in the United Nations, coming from groups like the IPPF. Their objectives are really to have young people have sex regardless of their age. And then the society must decide, do we want this or do we not want this? And this must not be allowed to be introduced into the society in a kind of a subliminal way.
Meanwhile, psychologist Dr. Leakim Samad says the government should demand that the JFJ pays for an urgent rehabilitation course for the children exposed to the inappropriate content. Dr. Samad says he believes the JFJ was deliberate in what he called the indoctrination of the approximately 120 children who participated in the program.
A lot of things just do not get the level of attention on the basis that it should be given, so that it is not unusual for that, because we really have a lot of work and the hands are few. Once somebody now goes directly to a children's home and says, listen, I'm willing to offer something and I'm not charging you, they're so desperate for resources and for assistance, they gladly take it without even. And this is a reputable organization. So yes, this happens from time to time because it's a lot of work and the hands are few. Our social services in Jamaica are woefully underfunded and woefully undermanned. This can happen.
And the People's National Party wants Jamaicans to support a motion in Parliament for greater scrutiny of civil society groups. The motion, brought by the Northeast St. Elizabeth MP Raymond Price, calls for a new assessment with respect to the mandates of civil society groups such as the JFJ. The MP wants greater transparency in relation to funding sources to these groups. When the motion was brought last year, the JFJ questioned the timing and branded it as a propaganda. Other critics insisted that the focus should be on the government to enact legislation for the disclosure of contributors to political parties. The Barbados government last week reported that it would shortly be paying out the court award to Jamaican Shanique Myrie. Last October, the Caribbean Court of Justice ordered Barbados to pay 3.6 million Jamaican dollars for discriminating against the Jamaican when she arrived in Barbados on March 14, 2011. Recently, Ms. Myrie threatened to file a complaint with the CCJ after expressing frustration with the 8-month wait for Barbados to honor the ruling. 120 mathematics coaches are to be deployed to primary schools this upcoming school year as the Education Ministry moves to improve the performance of students. The Education Minister, Ronald Thwaites, made the announcement as he provided details on the performance of this year's Grade 6 Achievement Test GSAT candidates. Mr. Thwaites said there is a marginal improvement in the performances of students, with majority gaining a place in a secondary school of their choice. And Mr. Thwaites has urged high schools to use the GSAT profiles to develop remedial intervention for underperforming students. The Cuban ambassador, Bernardo Guanche Hernandez, has welcomed the decision of PriceSmart Jamaica to restore the membership of Cuban diplomats in Jamaica. The ambassador says earlier this month, PriceSmart Jamaica wrote to him informing that the United States government has lifted the restriction that prevented PriceSmart Inc. from serving Cubans because of a trade embargo. As a result, Ambassador Hernandez says Cuban diplomats at consular missions outside Cuba may again shop at PriceSmart. But he says Scotiabank Jamaica continues to refuse to do business with Cubans here. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. You may tune into Power 106 FM for regular updates. Follow us on Twitter at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. I'm Damian Mitchell, and as we go, more on GSAT success.
Before the day began, Miss was crying all day. Even though I knew I was going to pass, Miss still was crying. And then when I really wanted to go to Kingston College, Miss, but when the result came out, I said it's better than nothing.
I never felt like I really wanted to give up, Miss. Miss, in mathematics, Miss, when I'm doing class tests, I never got under 80.
Yeah, so it was an easy thing for you.
Yes, Miss.
But were you expecting 100 though?
No, Miss.
No? Okay, okay. What's it like for you?
It was a bit hard for me to study because most of the stuff, because going to 6th grade, the work got a little bit harder and stuff. It was a bit hard for me to study, but I tried to buckle down at times, but at times I slipped off. I went down in my grades one time, but before the exam I tried to pick it up and did some more things that helped me to study.
Yes, I was happy but sad in between.
Why?
Because all of my friends are going to different schools.
Oh.
And I was going to honors.
I was so happy.
Yeah.
I was jumping, running around the class. When Miss was coming, we're on the field. And as soon as we saw the car, we were all like, Miss is here! All ran into the class.
That's not how it worked. It was like, Miss is here! Run to the classroom, quick, quick!
And we all sit down, quiet, waiting. And Dr. Margaret Miss came in the class. And I started putting up grades.
And everyone was like,
quiet. And when Miss said my name, I was so happy.
Yeah.
Because when I was, my mom and my uncle, they encouraged me all the time, telling me I was going to camp here. But sometimes I doubted that I was going there because of the come task. I think I could have done better with the essay. But I did my best, and that's it.